Hey everybody, Coach Toolshed here, and today I want to talk about something that is a much broader topic than any one particular game. This is something that's bigger than any game development studio or AAA publisher or any other topic that's in the news right now involving gaming. Right now, what I want to talk about is the conversation that we have, me and you and all the other gamers, or in any conversation on any social media platform, and the way we go about having debate and having a conversation about video games. Because what I've learned better than ever this past year, while I started making these sort of opinion type videos, this voiceover type content, which I hadn't done before really E3, is I've learned that some people are just incapable of carrying on a conversation, and some people are more than capable of carrying on a conversation. And even though sometimes you might start off with an abrasive back and forth for the first couple messages, at times you can break through and find a mutual understanding between two people, and that's the sort of thing that I am trying to cultivate here. I know sometimes I go off on rants and I get upset, but if you look at the times when I go off the rails, you could say, I'm not attacking fellow gamers. I'm usually attacking whether it be a games journalist, or this past week a games developer, or something else that happened where a publisher or some sort of games industry person attacked gamers first. So when you see me going off on a rant, it's usually because we've already been attacked, whether it be gamers in general or YouTubers. They like to go after YouTubers a lot. With these games journalists and different publishers like to go after YouTubers and demonize us as if we are the problems with the games industry. And whether it be just a group of gamers for a specific game, we all seem to have taken flack over the last few years, and it becomes more and more popular, it seems, for these developers to try to use us as scapegoats for any shortcomings that they might have had, whether it be coming to making their game, or a public relations problem that they may have had, or maybe a public statement that they put out that really rubbed fans the wrong way. They tend to blame us, the gamers, the YouTubers, people like us, and try to make us be the entire scapegoat. And what I want to do is, I want us to stop focusing on fighting with one another, and let's discuss the actual topics at hand. If you've ever played a team sport, you were probably told you play the ball, you don't play the man. And that goes into debate as well. If you just attack the other person, that's just, and you'd have no actual substance to your argument. If you just want to attack the person and bring them down and try to degrade them and think that that proves your case, well, that's just called an ad hominem attack. And that doesn't work. That doesn't work. That just proves that you don't have anything to back up what you're actually saying. So when I see a comment and it starts out with, "Hey, Coach Toolshed, you moron, you don't have any clue what you're talking about," and then that's the whole post, it's like, okay, well, you want to have a talk about it? Because I'll sit here and take the heat for a little bit. But, and many of you know that I am more than willing to discuss stuff in the comments as long as things stay civilized. I got no problem with that. But if you're going to come in with just the name calling, then yeah, things are going to get contentious pretty quick. But I am more than happy to debate, and that's what I want here. That's the sort of conversation, that's the sort of community that I want to have here, is people that are willing to debate, not go off the rails. I see too many people, even people that have been subscribed for a while, they always want to, and I'd ask you guys to please refrain from this. If you want to do this elsewhere, that's fine, but not everything needs to be political. When I'm talking about whether or not I like Red Dead Redemption Online, it doesn't need to turn into a political commentary. Unless there's something specifically political about it, it doesn't need to happen. That's something else that I see happening all the time. I just want to discuss games. I've said this before on the channel when I discussed the Battlefield 5 situation. I don't want to do political commentary on this channel. That's not what it's for. There's plenty of that on the internet and everywhere on YouTube. If that's what you want, that's fine. And you want to know what? I consume that sort of media myself. It's not that I have a problem with it, but that's not the sort of content that I want to make, and it's not the sort of content that I want to discuss at all on my channel. I'll go elsewhere and discuss it, but I don't want to do it here. I want to stay focused on games, and I want people here to also stay focused on games. I just want us to stop attacking each other just because we may have a difference of opinion about something that at the end of the day I think we can all agree is rather trivial, no matter how much you like video games. I love video games, But at the end of the day, it is still trivial. If we have a problem with how a loot system is working out, it's really not that huge of a deal. And yeah, I'll flip out sometimes. Of course I will. And it's something that I need to work on myself. But I implore all of you to also maybe take a look in the mirror and say, do I flip out too much at other people when I'm trying to have a debate in a YouTube comment section, or whether it be on Reddit or any other social media forum, anywhere, Facebook, wherever you have these sort of conversations? Again, stay on topic. Don't attack the other person, because that doesn't get anyone anywhere. But if you stay focused on the topic and maybe share some more information, maybe you can go have some back and forth, and both of you can learn something from the conversation. That happens all the time. And I appreciate every single person, even the people who come in hot and heavy at me and start, swearing at me and whatnot. There's been several people, and a lot of them have remained subscribers throughout the past months, where they started out arguing with me, and I was able to have a conversation with them, and by the end of it, we were like, okay, like maybe we disagree on this, but we agree on this. And some people, at the end of it, we came to understand that we both agree totally on the topic. They just, maybe I didn't clarify something well enough, or maybe the first thing they heard set them off, and then they just started typing without maybe hearing everything I had to say about it. Whatever the situation is, you can diffuse a debate and make it and turn it into something productive. And that's what I'm trying to say here. And what do you see here on the screen? Well, the game I'm showing you here is State of Decay 2. And I'm showing you this game for a particular reason. Because this is a game, I'm not going to give you like a full review of it, but if you're not familiar, this is a game that came out earlier in the year, 2018. This is a sequel to a game. And in many ways, this game shares a lot of similar. If I described it to you just on the surface, you might say, Coach, this sounds an awful lot like Fallout 76. So why are you playing this game, and why are you talking about it now? Well, this is a game that came out, and it got middling reviews. You could say actually below average reviews. Right now, if you look at Metacritic, it sits at a 67 for Xbox One and a 69 for PC. So clearly not anything that's really going to be gracing people's top 10 lists when it comes to 2018. You're certainly not going to see any major publication that would probably put this game on the list. However, for me personally, I can admit there's some problems with this game, but if I was going to make a top 10 coaches' favorites list, this game would be on it for 2018, believe it or not, warts and all. I had a lot of fun playing this game, but I can also admit that there's a ton of problems with it. And this is the reason why I'm showing you this video right now. Because people can come at me and give me their critique of this game, and I'm not going to take it personally. I didn't make this game. This is just a game I bought and I played. And I think too many people sometimes, when they have an attack that they see against a game that they like, they take it personally. Now, if you worked on the game, if you were a designer for the game, then I can understand if you get upset when people critique your work. But even still, you're just part of the machine. If people are specifically criticizing your part of the game, then I can see that. But if people are like, hey, your game sucks, and you were just like, one of the people who were just writing lines of code, it's not really probably your fault, unless you had some sort of linchpin line of code that brought down the whole mess of the game. But even if you're a game developer, you have to take it with a grain of salt. The people are going to criticize what you do. People criticize your work no matter what field you're in. So game developers, I don't see why they get this free pass where they're just supposed to be immune from critique. Anyone can critique any job, any company, and any manufactured product. And anyone can critique State of Decay 2, and I'll listen to them, because I can admit that it has faults. And if you want to know what? It does share some of the same problems that Fallout 76 does. For example, as you can see, I mean, these are not cutting-edge graphics. There's not much of a story to speak of. Now, sadly, there is a bit more of a story than Fallout 76 really has, even though this is just randomly generated scenarios. It still feels more alive, somehow, than Fallout 76. There's not a lot of enemy variety. The voice acting isn't all that great. But the thing about this game is that, unlike Fallout 76, and this is the key, it picked one thing that it wanted to do. It wanted to make a zombie survival sim. And that's all it attempted to do. And it actually does it pretty well. It has a nice little loop. It's something I can get addicted to and play this game. I can play this game easily for 10 straight hours if I have a day off, without even batting an eyelash, because I know that because I've done it several times, and I look up and I'm like, what? It's 8 o'clock at night already? What happened to the day? Because I can get addicted to this gameplay loop, and it's satisfying because it doesn't try to do everything else under the sun. And that is the key distinguisher between the two games. But, like I said, you can rip this game up and down. I'm not going to get mad at you. I'll try to debate you on it. And some things I'm not going to try to argue. If you want to say that these graphics look terrible, I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, it's amazing. Look at these God rays. Even though this doesn't really have the same type lighting system at all, but you know what I mean. I'm being a bit facetious here. But the thing about it is that I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to get mad at you. We can discuss the game. And that's the sort of thing that I want everyone to keep in mind as we head into the new season. As we head into the new year, let's just... We got a lot of games coming up. There's going to be a ton of games to discuss next year. I've said this already on the channel in a different video. I actually am looking forward more to 2019 than I think any year that I've looked forward to this entire generation. I think there are a lot of very promising titles, more so than we've seen in a while, because I think there's going to be a lot of games coming out that have this non-predatory microtransaction system going on. There's just going to be buy the game, play the game, maybe there's some DLC, but I don't see as many predatory games necessarily coming. I think we're going to have a lot more good, solid games to choose from this year, and I'm really excited about that. But there's going to be debate. There's always going to be debate. And there's going to be issues with games that get announced before launch. People are going to have differences of opinion. There's no reason why we need to go after each other about it. And that's all I'm saying. I wish we could all remind that to ourselves anytime we start getting pissed off about someone in the comment section, getting all worked up into a tizzy. Just take a step back and say, hey, let's fight the ball, don't fight the man. Whatever it may be. Okay? Can we do that? Can we do that, guys? Play the ball. Play the ball. Stay on topic. That's all I got to say about that. Now, a couple other notes I'd like to add. Now, it wouldn't be much of a new year without some kind of resolution, right? So, I'm going to lay out a quick coach's resolution for next year. This applies to me and to you guys. This will also affect you guys as well. And that is, I'm going to be putting a moratorium on a certain type of argument. An argument which this year has been proven to be pretty foolish. And that is, and this is an argument that I'm still getting right now. I've gotten this several times already today. And I'm going to put a full moratorium on this. I will not take your argument seriously if you lead off with the following phrase. Don't like it, don't buy it. If that is your lead phrase, if that is your main argument against something I say, then A, you've missed the point of whatever topic I was talking about, because that is never the main topic of what I've brought up. And every time someone uses that argument, you're doing one thing. You're forgetting what just happened to Battlefield 5. So if I hear that excuse in the new year on this channel, I will just say the phrase, remember Battlefield 5. And that's all I'm going to say. Because if that didn't teach you what happens to a company and a game when the attitude of the developer and the publisher is don't like it, don't buy it, well, I think we all know what happened there. Because I'm not going to take that argument seriously. These companies are in business to sell us a product. And if it is incumbent on them to sell us the product, it is incumbent on them to woo us as customers. We are not here to be seduced by their marketing, even though that's what happens. But that shouldn't be the way it works. They should be providing us with what we actually want to buy, not what they're telling us that they want to make. And the justification that, hey, if you guys keep buying this, well, you must like everything to do with this product. Well, that is just fallacious thinking that has a massive flaw into it. And what I'm talking about specifically is when these companies say, hey, they must like these games as a service that have microtransactions in them because they keep buying these type of games. No, you're missing the point. If you guys make a military co-op shooter, people are buying it because they want the military co-op shooter. They're not buying it because they want the microtransactions. But you guys are trying to use that as justification. Well, people can, I even had this argument today. Well, look at how many games The Division sold. So obviously people want games like that. No, people want games that they can play with their friends. They don't want necessarily a games as a service business model with timers and microtransactions and everything else. That's just the sort of thing that games companies throw in on top of it. That's not what we want. Take it like this. If every time you watched a TV show or a movie, you got an electric jolt and a shock went through your body for 5 seconds every time you flipped on a new TV show, would you enjoy that? No, you wouldn't, but you might sit through the 5 seconds of being shocked just to watch a show you like. It wouldn't be pleasant, you certainly wouldn't like it, but if you liked the show enough, you would put up with it. Well, that's the same thing that's the same way I view microtransactions. If there's a game that I want to play that looks interesting to me, I might pick it up. That doesn't mean that I am supporting or that I'm in favor of the microtransactions. And just because a lot of people buy them, this has been well documented. If people actually buy microtransactions, part of the reason is because they've been psychologically manipulated to do so through the game. This has just been proven many times over. It's a psychological effect. There's been studies done, even recently in Europe. I did a video on this before. I think it was back in September. There's been studies done about this stuff. That this stuff does trigger gambling addictions and everything else when it comes, especially with people who already have a predilection to doing so. So I don't want to hear this conversation, well, if you guys don't like it, don't buy it, and you guys are only encouraging this sort of behavior by buying it. No, it's because that's what's being marketed. That is what's being sold to us again and again and again. That is where all the advertising money goes into it, so the general public that doesn't know better buys these products, and then they get suckered into that loop of grind and being like, oh, maybe I should just sink some extra money into this. It's the people who don't know better that are getting manipulated the most, and that's part of the reason why I make these videos. It's for people that don't know better. Maybe they might stumble across it. If I can just keep one person from keeping some extra money in their pockets that they won't regret spending later, then all these videos are worth it. I see a lot of people accusing me sometimes of cashing in. Well, once again, I've said this before. I don't make a dime off these videos. You aren't seeing ads run. I don't have monetization enabled. I don't have a Patreon page. I'm not selling you hats and shirts on Teespring. I'm not trying to sell you a product here. I'm just trying to give you opinion. I'm trying to act sort of on your side as a consumer rights advocate. I guess you could say that's a fancy way of saying what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep money in your pocket. That's all I'm trying to do. So when you say don't like it, don't buy it, that just shows me that you either have completely missed what I tried to say in whatever video you're discussing, because that's never the point that I'm trying to make. So if you're using that as an argument, then you've missed the topic of the video entirely. No matter what it is, you've missed the point. And you've also displayed a significant lack of understanding on how business works when it comes to customer relations. Businesses need to keep customers happy, not the other way around. They need our money to survive. We don't need their product to survive. Games are not life essential. I know it may seem that way sometimes, and I know I get worked up and it might seem that way, but games are not essential. And I've said this before, I have a backlog that could last me years. I don't need to buy into these games, but I do because I want to play them. And I hope that next year, with the slate of games we might see coming out, might show some of these big publishers that some of these smaller games can be successful. At least that's what I hope we see. But anyway, I'm Coach Toolshed. I've rambled on long enough about this topic. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you want to stay in tune with the channel headed forward. And Happy New Year, everybody. I hope everyone has a great night. Stay safe. Don't pass out too hard. Let's wake up in 2019 without a hangover. Can we all try doing that? If you really need the hangover, go for it. Have a great night. I'll talk to you guys later. Stay safe. And as always, keep it turned to 11.